We'll try again. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our LifeWave and X39 introductory call, where we give a brief history of this very special company and the star of our show, our star product called X39. And we talk about, and then we share a little bit about our founder, and then we bring on a special guest. And tonight is a very special night because we have a new doctor with us tonight, and I'm really excited. His bio is so amazing. I'm going to have to read more than I usually do because I just want you guys to get to know this wonderful being that we have with us tonight, who's part of our community. And then it's your turn. We turn things over to you, and you get to share your testimonials. If you have a testimonial, please raise your hand and I'll call on you. If you have a question, please write it in the chat. And remember that we're not here to heal or diagnose or cure anything. If you do want to share, please talk symptoms only. And that keeps us very compliant, and we really appreciate that. We want to thank you for that. So I believe it's time to jump in and get started. And so let me talk about a little bit about how I got here. A few years ago, I was researching stem cell injections for a bone-on-bone knee situation, and a friend gave me one of those calls that changed my life and said, there's a new technology that activates your own stem cells using light. And I said, how fast can I get it? And so I started as a customer in November of 2019. I believe it was 2019. 2018. It was 2018. Oh my gosh. And a week later, I put this wonderful little patch, sorry about that, that looks like this. This is our technology. It looks like a Band-Aid the size of a quarter. And I put it on top of my spine, and a week later, the pain in my knee went away. And I was like amazed. That's all I did. That's all I did. I wore it 12 hours on, 12 hours off. And a week later, the pain went away. And I was blown away. So I couldn't not share with some friends. I started as a customer, and they started having amazing results. And then lots of other people started sharing. And by the end of February, 2 years ago, I really realized that this was too important to not take very seriously. And I actually shifted into, really feeling a sense of responsibility to let people know about this amazing technology. And every day since then, I hear miracle stories every day. And Gregory, could you do me a favor and get me some water? I don't know why I don't have any. Thank you. So a little bit about LifeWave. Let's talk about the company. It's a very, very special company that has actually been around for 16 years. Thank you, my dear. Appreciate it. 1 second, everybody. Okay, now I can talk better. I always have water everywhere, and it's strange I don't. So LifeWave was founded in 2004, 16 years ago. After our founder, David Schmidt, was doing a government contract for the Navy SEALs to help them stay awake in their mini subs. They're little individual submarines, and they sometimes have to stay awake for days on end. And they wanted something where they wouldn't have to use stimulants, chemicals, caffeine. And the birth of the energy enhancer patch using a light therapy called photobiomodulation was born, the energy enhancer. And 9/11 happened. The government had a different shifted their priorities away from survival equipment. And David was introduced to the idea of bringing this to market through one of the best vehicles ever for getting the word out on a new technology, especially in the health world. And it became LifeWave, launched in 2004 with this one product called the Energy Enhancer. And that was the first phase of the company, is what we call more of the symptom phase. And the Energy Enhancer patch actually got discovered by athletes. And one day the company's history changed when David Schmidt, our founder, got a call from Richard Quick, who was the women's Olympic swim coach. And Richard said to David, 6 of my 8 swimmers did their personal best after the first time they used the patch. So they were very excited about it, and the news got out to other athletes and a lot of press, and the company took off. And David is an inventor. He's a scientist and an inventor. That's what he loves being known for. And he kept creating. So in this first phase, there were the energy enhancer patches, and he noticed that there was some pain relief properties to this patch, and he tweaked the formula a little bit and created the pain patch. And the pain patch is miraculous. People can't believe it's true that in literally, instantly or rapidly, people get amazing pain relief with nothing going in the body other than a frequency of light. And then came the silent night patch, which is a sleep patch where your body increases its own melatonin. So that's phase 1. Phase 2, David got into anti-aging, and carnosine, eon, and glutathione got born and launched into the world, and they each have their own amazing gifts. But tonight we're going to talk about the third phase, which is the regenerative phase. David started studying regenerative science 10 years ago and launched the new product, which he calls, his best so far, but there's more to come, by the way. And in January of 2019, X39 was launched to the world. It came out as a test product for members in the third quarter of 2018, and the results were so unbelievably magnificent. Everyone was excited that the company, in its first year of this product being out, as a 15-year-old company, tripled in size, which is quite dramatic. And then the next year, it doubled and a half again. And so we are now in this very exciting stage of hypergrowth. And because the star of the show, X39, came out, that actually activates your own younger stem cells, creates more stem cells, and does many, many more things. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute. And a little bit about our founder inventor. Well, let me finish a little bit about the company. We are now in over 75 countries around the world with 14 distribution centers. And the company invests millions and millions of dollars in research. And that's the reason we've got thousands of healthcare practitioners that have joined LifeWave, because we've got the science to back up the effectiveness and of our products. They love it, and they love that it enhances the clinical outcome. We're going to get into that in just a little bit. Now, David is a fascinating man. It's very rare that you come across, a genius scientist inventor that it also has a tremendous business acumen. He is the CEO and founder of LifeWave, and he's very excited about more research. Currently, we have over 100 clinical studies. They're not all published yet. I believe we have 80 published, and you can go to our website at lifewave.com and scroll down a little bit, and you can find those clinicals. It just gets better and better and better. And David is very busy creating more things that will truly enhance the quality of life and transform our experience of the aging process. And so let's see, what else do I want to talk about here? I want to make sure I cover everything. We're going to ask our doctor to share a little bit about the technology. Okay, so this patch came out and a lot of people's lives got changed. So my pain went away, but then what else happened is I didn't realize that this would have cumulative results and get better and better over time. I noticed the quality of my hair changed, my skin changed, and being a baby boomer, it's pretty wonderful when those fine lines and wrinkles can kind of melt away a little bit. Love that. And the aches and pains went away. My reaction time improved. One of my favorite things that's kind of fun to look at is my finger that was injured 20 years ago was stuck in this position and can now straighten out. So every day we hear the word wow, and that makes it really exciting. So what I want to do now is bring on our guest, and I'm going to read from this because this is new for me, and I'm just in awe of this wonderful being that has such a huge heart, loves our profession. Dr. Tom Acklin is a physician, and he was trained in traditional allopathic neuroscience and behavioral neuropsychiatry. And you know, I just want to jump to the end, and then I want to get back to the beginning, because this gentle, multifaceted, holistic healer and teacher bridges science and spirit, carrying the message that humanity as organism thrives. And a little bit more about him, because there's so much to share. He works with neurodegenerative diseases, addiction medicine, microbiome reconstruction, and we're going to get into a little bit of that, not too much, but he's a writer, reader, speaker, and listener. How wonderful is that? Have a doctor who's a listener. Love it. For more than a decade, a food as medicine practitioner advocating alternative therapeutics for cancer. And he's launched an initiative called Conversations with Cancer. He's got a new book called Mind Message, Bringing in the Belly Bugs to Take Out the Trash. And he's got a great sense of humor too. His promise to all chronic metabolic syndrome sufferers, which sadly is just about all of us, is to rebuild the gut-brain integrity and restore thriving function to the human race. I mean, I'm thrilled to have Dr. Tom with us this evening. Welcome, Dr. Tom.
Well, thank you so much. I'm honored to be here in your wonderful presence. Thank you.
Well, it's a treat. It's a treat for all of us. And, you know, we always like to start out by asking, you know, our practitioners, you know, as a doctor, what is it that got you interested in checking out LifeWave and embracing LifeWave?
Well, I loved your phrase. I had to write it down. Too important to not take seriously, right? When committed people in our lives come to us and we know who they are and we know how they live their lives, right, with integrity. I like to think I listen. I suppose we don't always listen, but wow is definitely the story. And Anne Moreau came to me. I'd been working with her for 10 years. I know her well. I respect her. And she said, please take a look. And grantedly, it's kind of like when you said you had taken a look at stem cells for yourself, injections. I've worked with stem cell transplants. They work. They're great. They're incredibly powerful, but they're dangerous and they're expensive. And I think maybe 20 years ago, I stopped paying attention to everybody who was jumping up and down saying, hey, we got some stem cell stuff, right? But Anne came to me, and she and Connie and you and Gregory were so generous. And if I hadn't put the patch on me, I don't know that I ever would have taken a look. But luckily the product worked great. I was one of those wow guys almost immediately. And I thought, all right, I'll look in. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So it works. And the thing that I didn't mention about you that I want to make sure I tell everyone is you're the founder of the All Is Well Yoga Center for Mind-Body Integration in the DC area. And, you know, you're an athlete of mind, body, and spirit. And I've practiced yoga for over 15 years. So you also teach yoga, and the executive director of the Mentees Foundation, a global nonprofit purposed to movement and mindfulness and farm to table school and garden programs into schools and all places of growth and development. So you have been a student of many dimensions for a long time. And so you know stem cells, you've worked with them, you know that they work. And this is a little bit different, but a lot of people are brand new to stem cells, Dr. Tom. So could you briefly explain what are they and why are they important and what happens over time?
Well, they're not important if you like to age on schedule, and the same way, unfortunately, a lot of folks are, you know, caught in a system, and we've accepted that there's a certain way of aging. Stem cells are the omnipotential regeneration reservoir, if you will. It's kind of like filling your gas tank. And we used to think that there was a certain decline, right? There was a certain decrement to the body over time. What if we could flip that? And instead of saying, well, stem cells decline as you age, what if we could say, when stem cells decline, we experience aging, right?
Ooh, nice.
So take the converse of that. If you have ongoing regenerative capacity and a body that can ongoingly say hello, meet the demands of life, uh, and then say, yes, I can handle this today. I can handle the inflammation. I can handle the regeneration. I can handle the damage. And we live in a pretty toxic place, right? We breathe some toxic stuff. As even those of us who are trying to eat nicely, we eat stuff that's not food, uh, and like that. And we have to consume thoughts as well, sacred thoughts that are maybe not so comfortable to handle. So there's a lot of meeting life, engaging life in real time, and then the question is, are you actually handling it, and are you regenerating yourself to the capacity you were yesterday? Almost nobody is, right? Almost all of us are accumulating damage that should have been taken care of in the moment. Stem cells, real, pure, omnipotential cells, commit themselves. So they have what they call committed stem cell lines out of the bone marrow. An omnipotential stem cell, a couple of decades ago, they started identifying stem cells in the brain, stem cells in the other tissues, right? And we called those stem cells as well. In reality, though, what if a lot of what David's looking into is incredibly exciting, because we'll probably figure out that almost every cell really does have the capacity to reinvigorate itself into an omnipotential. Now, that's a dogma breaking kind of statement, but he's been implying that, and he's been working towards it for a quarter of a century now. But in the grand scheme of things, stem cells, as far as science understands them right now, are omnipotential. It's like a soldier. They put on their uniform, they head on out, and they become a spleen cell, or they head on out and they become a neuron, or they head on out and they become like that, and their job is done, right? And we've got it that if we maintain those particular tissues, then we're handling aging. Well, what if you had an unlimited supply of those soldiers coming out of the bone marrow? What if you had an unlimited supply and you actually had the kind of omnipotential regenerative capacity that we had when we came out of the womb? Fast growth, rapid acceleration, rapid ability to handle life on life's terms in real time. And that's what's exciting about this technology for me. And I started looking around and hearing other practitioners all over the world. That's the other thing that got me excited. Once it started working for me, I also, like you, I had a pretty traumatic elbow restructuring years ago, and pins and surgery and whatnot, and it had never quite straightened. And I'm an athlete. I'd never even noticed it. I have a certain way I hold my body and whatnot in yoga practice. And no kidding, within about 2 weeks, I started experiencing a different kind of shoulder and a different posture of my arm. Just stunning. I was one of those wow stories, right? And other stories for me too, which were great. I'm lucky to be in what I think is in the best shape of my life. I wasn't 20 years ago. I was a very, very old 40-year-old overworked guy, working 100. I was one of those doctors that didn't know how to take care of himself, right? There are a lot of those. But so anyway, I started looking around and I saw all these other practitioners all over the world taking care of themselves, and really doing what they went into school for in the first place, right? Chiropractors, massage therapists, acupuncturists, naturopaths, folks in countries integrating these technologies into their work, right? And then I thought, okay, I really I get a brand new chapter to my what I'd been talking about regenerative capacity for the past 10 years in a food as medicine platform. Then I saw even docs being able to refresh not just themselves as a personal testimony, right? We're all looking for refreshment, but being able to refresh and renew their science, which is what science is supposed to be, right? We go into practice for the purposes of continually learning, continually serving with what we have, but continually learning and fine tuning with a little bit of understanding that we don't ever quite know the whole story. And I think that's a healthy, thriving body, right?
Wow. I get to say wow with you. I'm going to learn so much from you. Omnipotential, and you're just a continual learner, and it looks like over the years you've just integrated all these different facets to be where you are today, which is getting younger, stronger, healthier, and more vital, and that these stem cells are directly related to our aging process. So how beautiful. Now let's move into talking a little bit about this fascinating technology that's used to activate our stem cells, and it's called photobiomodulation. Could you briefly kind of tell people what does that mean to you?
Well, I like the middle part of it, bio, that's life, right? Photo is light, of course. And I think what I was just talking about, modulation, is that sense that we are always fine tuning, right? We're always recalibrating. And if you have a body that can ongoingly recalibrate, then you can start to make choices, right? I think one of the great things about these technologies is they help people at all ends of the spectrum. There are a lot of folks who thought they had been doing a lot of the right things, taking the right supplements, eating the right food, et cetera, and maybe not getting the full traction, right, that they needed. So folks at that end of the spectrum, folks at the other end of the spectrum also with very little hope that they could actually create some regenerative capacity or maybe even turn back the clock a little bit. So photobiomodulation is, the good news and the bad news is we turn the body on and the body tells the truth. And for a lot of folks who are toxic, that's a hard thing to take, right? All of a sudden the body's got energy to complain in a way that it might not have been able to complain yesterday, right? And so the photobiomodulation is putting the body back into a place. I'm not a physicist, but I love listening to the folks when they were talking about the technology, putting together the nanoparticles that are essentially prisms inside these patches. And the prisms themselves have a life, right? They do a little wiggle, they do a little wiggle dance. And at some point, the structure of that prism is not, it's finished, right? It wiggles itself out of position. But in the world of wiggling, it is just as we are supposed to be a radio receiver walking through all of the different electromagnetic fields, being responsive. And you can think of an electromagnetic field as a fingerprint of food too. Food brings its own vitality, its own life force. But because of a lot of the toxins, we've put a shroud over a lot of our enzymatic ability to digest those conversations, right? Those signals that come in, whether it be something we chew and swallow, whether it be something we hear, or whether it be the sunlight and other other radiation fields. It's a little bit of it's a translator. So it's like a translator putting one language into the next. And a healthy, thriving body, of course, we live in an ecosystem, and our job is to ongoingly take the energy of Mother Earth, whether that be food or you name it. What would it be like to actually take in the energy of other people's communications as well, right? Or those of us who speak a spiritual language, what would it be like to take in the communication of whatever your idea of spirit is, and to be able to translate that? So photobiomodulation, as far as the technology is concerned, is we actually do have targeted ways now of taking what would be a 6 to 12 month process. Sometimes I work in autoimmune conditions, and sometimes it takes a year or two to put somebody who's in some real trouble back into a place where their body has that capacity. These patch technologies actually can accelerate that in moments. Stunning, stunning work. It actually put the patch on the body within 3 inches of the surface of the body, and the heat and the infrared fields of the body actually activate these little prisms, and then the things that they're communicating to inside the body, whether that be an enzyme upregulator or a peptide and amino acid assimilator, all of these little machines that we have in our body that we can't see that are light activated. So that's photo activation. It's called photobiology.
I love it. I
Yeah,
love it. I love it. It's
fun.
well, you in our conversation earlier, you were sharing with me how, as a practitioner, that you're able to make progress with your patients to accelerate their healing so much quicker with this as a tool. So I'd love to hear you briefly share with people about this star of the show, the X39 patch, the one that activates stem cells and does so much more. What is so fascinating about this product?
Well, again, it works for everybody. Works at every end of the spectrum.
Great.
It does work quickly for sure. Um, and I have to just tell a quick story because I was actually to be a speaker. I was about 2 weeks into the patch technology here with my own personal experience about 4 or 5 months ago, and I was driving to an expo, and I watched a video from one of the practitioners who had used one of the stroke protocols, right? And we're not allowed to say that we can heal disease and whatnot, but pretty stunning. And I saw the video, and it was one of those really timely events where I met a gentleman who's an old friend. I happen to know his story, but his wife came over and told me his story. Cut to the chase. He used I knew how to use the patch because I had seen somebody use the patch. I had heard a story that made me go, wow. I used it with him. I used the Ice Wave first, pain reduction in his hips, big guy, hips and knees. And then I put the X39 on him after I, helped him realize this breakthrough that he had with the X39, or with the Ice Wave for about 10 minutes. And he wanted to know what it was. And so I said, well, tell you what, we'll learn together. And then I looked into it. I'd already been hugely impressed, right? So we can talk about the benefits all day long. And you can go to the website and you can see increased energy, and you can see increased vitality. You can see wound healing acceleration, and you can see then you go to the white papers. Then you go to the science, and you open up the white papers. And as a practitioner and a scientist, I look at the white paper and I read the absolutely stunning list of upregulation of immune competence and the downregulation of inflammatory issues. And not just in general terms, but we're talking clinical trials that have significantly correlated decreases in what all of the modern scientific world knows as inflammatory inflammatory markers. And then you go back to the website and you see there's absolutely no way to jump up and down with enough energy and with enough enthusiasm to actually say what these patches do. And so X39 is just you can almost fill in the blank. And I tell people, you can actually Google almost anything you have a complaint about and X39, and you're going to find somebody somewhere on the globe, some practitioner who's working with that technology, who's had some breakthroughs. And I think that's, I could talk about the specifics of it, but it just works so wonderfully.
Well, that's one of the reasons we recommend people start with just X39, because as you say, it is so comprehensive. When people say, well, what do I do for this or that? The answer is always the same. It's X39, because it regenerates the damaged cells. And you mentioned, deregulating the inflammatory markers, which, as most people know, is the root of most all disease. So when you're reducing the inflammation, and then cumulatively things get better and better and better. So this is so much fun. We could go for a long time, but I'm just looking at the clock here. So I want to see if we've got, I know we have Karen who wants to share. Tom, we're going to have to do a special program on some other things because you have so much to share with us, and your passion and your love of what we have here is infectious, and it's making a huge difference in a lot of people's lives. And I love that you have embraced the community, the product, and all of it. So let's see, we've got
Well, thank you so much. Everything you do is special anyway, so you don't need me to do that. You're
Well,
already doing a special show.
we want you. So I know Karen has a special story to share. So let me unmute you, Karen. And then if anyone has any questions or stories, raise your hand or write in the chat, please. And you should be able to talk now, Karen. Oh, you have to unmute your line, my dear. Unmute. Because we want to hear you. Okay. Can you unmute your line, Karen? I can't hear you. You're still muted. Okay, I'm going to go to Ann Heiser, and then we're going to come back to you, Karen, because I know your story. Karen had an injury, which was at the worst time to have an injury, the day before Thanksgiving. So let's see, let's go to Ann, and let's be really brief because we're already kind of late. So let's be really brief, everyone. Ann, you want to unmute your line? You can. Okay, you're unmuted, Ann.
Okay, hi Robin. Hi everyone. Thank you so much. That was an amazing informational segment there. I just am so grateful that we have everything on hand to deal with all the things that we come across in our lives. And I experienced an emotional issue this week that actually physically manifested itself frighteningly, in fact, as a big fat swollen cheek. And with the Eon patch and that I had on hand, it really and truly made a huge difference. So, that was really amazing.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, my dear. Appreciate that. Let's go see if Kay, I'm going to unmute you. Okay, and you've got to unmute your line now. Let's see here. People aren't getting their lines unmuted very well, so we're going to try Jean and see if that one works.
Also, Robin.
I'm sorry?
Hi, this is Gene. So I have a question for both of you. I have a friend who's 75, and he's been on the patch about 2 weeks. Every morning he puts it on, and he has such a huge win. He almost goes outside of his body as a spirit, and he feels exhilaration. And when he walks, he only feels he only is in touch with the physical universe because of the pressure of the ground against his feet. And this is from the X39. And I am so jealous of this guy because, I mean, I'm having great wins myself, but this is out the top. Do either one of you have an explanation for such an incredible spiritual feeling that this guy gets?
Dr. Tom, I'd love you to come on and address that one. Why don't you stay with me? Hope we didn't lose you. Is he still with me? Oh, there you are.
I'm right here, and I promise I'll try to do it in 60 seconds. I could talk all day about this. First of all, I love the story, and yeah, we all have an inflammatory capacity that keeps us small, right? I was kind of thinking that way when I was talking about what is it like for a practitioner to find new freedom, and each of us really is an evolving creature. We find new ways to explore, and I think that's the sense of enthusiasm that comes with actually having native capacity, right? You put that body in a place where really there is no challenge and there's no confrontation, right? We're so used to living in a place where we're continually confronted by toxin and not able to handle it in real time that we can't really meet what's there. And I promise I'll do this in 15 seconds, Robin. The neocortex is designed, our cognitive capacities are designed to filter and keep out most of the information and recreate what is yesterday. It's a safety mechanism. It's an ego mechanism as well. It's an ego construct, but it's a physical safety mechanism. What would it be like if you actually had a body that literally didn't have to take care of itself, didn't have to defend itself, that is, right? Literally had the regenerative capacity to meet the sensations in the moment, to meet the challenges in the moment, to meet the damage in the moment, whether that be athletic damage or traumatic damage, or just ongoing, every time we move our muscles and bones, there's microscopic damage there. Every time our blood vessels change position, there's microscopic endothelial damage in the blood vessel lining. So we're constantly changing. I think that sense of ecstasy, just on a physical level, on a corporeal level, is, hey, my body can handle this, and think of the emotional comfort that comes along with, hey, my body can handle this, right? It's a powerful conversation.
Love it. That was beautiful.
Gene, call me.
Okay.
I want to hear your story.
Well, I'll call you.
Okay. And I know Teresa has a wonderful story. So why don't you share, Teresa? Let's see, where'd you go? You just disappeared. Okay.
O'Neill is now, Robin.
What?
Karen's available now.
Oh, you are. Okay. Why don't you go first, Karen?
Okay, hi, can you hear me okay?
Now we can. Yay.
I'm sorry, I'm doing PT exercises and I had it all on my clock and I didn't even know you were talking to me. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Until I looked at Zoom and it said unmute. Anyway, okay, so the day before Thanksgiving, after my daughter told me there was ice, we were gonna get five of us were getting together for Thanksgiving. She said, watch out for the ice. And I don't know what happened. I stepped and the next thing I knew, I slammed into my shoulder. My daughter said it looked like somebody had violently thrown me down. We decided, we really think if I had landed on my head, it would have killed me. It was really, really severe. And I had to live for 8 days without surgery because there was nobody to do the surgery that night. And my arm was broken off right under the ball. If you're on my Facebook page, you can see, I put a picture of it up there and my bone. So I had it dislocated and broken for 8 days before surgery, and it was pretty painful. They gave me pretty good pain pills, but they wouldn't do what I needed. And all I did was just add an ice wave patch, and the pain went to 0. And this is weird, you guys. I was really, and I'm just now feeling like I'm almost going to be more recovered pretty soon, like ready to get back to life. But I was so bad, I couldn't even really think or do anything. So I would just grab a patch out when it started hurting again. It would start hurting again before the ice waves would wear off. And it would start hurting for some reason. I would feel this intense pain. I would just put a patch on. I put an E on, and it would just go away. I can't explain it, but I mostly went between ice waves, Eon, and then X39 to put right in that area of the broken arm. But I will tell you, even after the surgery, everything, I know I've had pain, but I have not had any of the pain. Like they say, shoulder surgery is the most painful surgery of all the appendages. And the orthopedic surgeon also told me that the broken bones was the most painful thing you could have. It doesn't get worse much. And I didn't even lose a night's sleep from pain. How cool is that? And I'm still taking more time than I want to heal. I can't really do my hair. That's why I'm doing my therapy right now, even while I'm talking to you. And I gotta get it all in. Anyway, because I lost my muscle strength on my right arm and I cannot lift it. And they had to get my bone really healed before I could start strengthening. So I'm doing great and awful kind of together, but mostly great.
Well, thank you, Karen. And we've missed you so much. And it was so hard for me to hear what you went through, but thank God for the patches, huh?
Yeah.
So,
and can I add, I know you guys are over time. I want to add one real quick thing. I had this huge insight last night. And all of you that are like me and maybe over 50, I'm 71, so I qualify. I just had this thought. I thought, oh my goodness, because I don't think of myself as old. I look in the mirror, I don't think I look old. None of that. Well, lately maybe a little. Anyway, and I don't think of myself as old. And I thought, oh my goodness, I'm going to be an old woman for the rest of my life. The rest of my life, I'm going to be in that category they call elderly. And then I just sort of smiled, thought of the patches, and thought, I'm just going to make the most of it. That's it.
Thank you so much. So I think I'm going to have one more question for Dr. Tom and one more testimonial because we are running a little late here. And this is from Kim. And Kim says, I've been searching through the science papers, but still not confident I can accurately answer this question from my naturopath. What creates the product differentiation? Are there different light frequencies being used in different products?
Yes, yes.
The short answer is yes.
That was great. So in each one of these patches, there's a different combination of crystals that creates a different frequency, causing a different biochemical change. Is that correct?
That's pretty well said. Yeah.
Pretty well.
There's a
Wanna make
great
better?
video. There's a great video. You know, the Nitty Gritty site is a fantastic resource. If you go to the Nitty Gritty site and the Watch and Learn menu under patches, there's a video right at the bottom that is David talking for about 20 minutes on the technology itself. And then he interviews a physicist who does talk about this. And he talks about the different prismatic focuses. Yeah, I think probably more impressive for a clinician, by the way, you know, instead of the technology itself, because a lot of times they'll pretend like they want to hear the structure and what it is and whatnot. But for the clinicians to realize, wow, you know what, everything I've been working for and trying to teach folks to be able to do is available here.
Beautiful.
Right. And we're all walking around, I think, wishing that we were a little bit more effective. That goes for physicians and all kinds of practitioners and just normal people, right? We all want to be a little bit more effective. And it's a real eye opener. In fact, I suggest to folks that they go back to their doc and they say, you know what, here's what I've decided to do. You don't ask. Don't ask the doc because they won't know and they'll probably say no. You say, doc, be my partner in this. Pay attention to me for the next 90 days. Here's what I'm going to do. And I want you to take my blood work before, I want you to take my blood work after. They get to become a clinical trial themselves, right? And not only do they get better, but the doc actually pops his eyes open. And what do you know? You probably have a new business partner too.
What a beautiful approach. Thank you, thank you, thank you for that. Okay, I believe that Teresa wants to share, and I think you're available to talk.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. First of all, Dr. Tom, that was awesome what you just said. I appreciate that very much. I will use that. I wanted to come on and share because I have, I've met a new friend, was sharing with her about LifeWave and the wonderful healing that people have received with the X39. And she had been she's a young lady. She had been in a very severe automobile accident 2.5 years ago and had damaged her ankle tremendously. She had constant large swelling in her ankle and it would not go away. And so I gave her a sample or a free gift of a patch. She put it on, and that morning and that evening when she looked at it, she's a very busy person. When she looked at it that evening, she had no swelling. So she's a brand new preferred customer, loving it, but it's just amazing what these patches do for people. And that's just one story.
Well, thank you, Teresa. And I know you have so many stories. You know, you've got your mobility back to walk up and down the stairs. Your husband's PSA dramatically changed. I mean, so many wonderful things have happened in your life. It's great to hear. Well, you guys, we have gone over, we could go for a long, long, long time. Dr. Tom, why don't you come back on and say goodbye to everybody so I can thank you in person here. And it has been a joy to have you. I'm thrilled that we get to work together and I get to learn from you and we get to share your wisdom with our community. It's so beautiful. So thank you so much for being with us. And
Well, thank you. I'm honored to learn with you as well. This is one of the most refreshing communities I've ever seen. I think this is what folks are looking for.
You know what? I agree with you. I just got chills all the way down to my toes. And Gregory says this often. It's easy to find a place to stay and it's hard to find a home, and we found our home, and it just keeps
Mm.
getting better and better and better. So we want to thank all of you that have come. If you're new this evening, please get back to the person who invited you. We have really wonderful customer programs and a distributor program. Depends if you like to share or not. I started out as a customer, but I couldn't not share, and now 2 years later, many, many tens of thousands of people's lives have changed. And so that's the gift we have to give to people, is enhancing the quality of their life. So what a gift we have to share with the world. And this is truly historic. So thank you, Tom, Dr. Tom, and thank you, everybody. So we'll say good night. Good night. Bye, everybody. Thanks. And goodbye to Facebook group. And sorry we didn't get to everyone. Put your hand up early next